What's going on, everybody? We're finna get ready to get this show on the road. We're definitely going to talk about this Tennessee Titans victory. We're definitely going to go mostly into that. So we are going to get into it. I guarantee you that. We're definitely going to talk about this Titan win. Also, of course, we did get some unfortunate breaking news this morning, and we're definitely going to talk about that as well. So everybody, make sure y'all come on in, and we're gonna get this show on the road in just a few moments. And I hope everybody is having a good start, a good Friday, and this is a victory Friday. But of course, we had to have a little problem that we will address. So we're definitely going to get into that and more as we get ready for TNT post game, and it gets started in less than 60 seconds. Good evening, Titan Nation. How's everybody? Good evening, Titan Nation. How's everybody doing? Welcome in to TNT Post Game. I am your host, Chris, aka Blue Enforcer, and we are going to have a very fun episode on today as the Tennessee Titans take down the Green Bay Packers 27-17 and moved to 7-3 on the year. As y'all saw on the graphic, there was also some not so good breaking news, and we're definitely going to get into that in just a moment as you get ready to start this show. So first and foremost, if you could, please definitely make sure that y'all do share this show out. Share it out to everybody, whether it be on Facebook or Instagram, on Twitter, as well as on Facebook as well. As you see on the bottom, you could go, you could do it under TNT Enforcers on Facebook, under at TNT Blue Enforcer on Twitter, and also follow at Titans_in_truth on Instagram. And if you're in here, make sure you hit that like button and also hit that subscribe button as well. So that way, when we do go live, definitely hit that like button, definitely hit that subscribe button, and ring that bell and hit all, so that way that you have all the notifications for when we do go live. This will also, and this is also happening on Spotify as well. Spotify, iHeartRadio, on Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts as well. So wherever you get your podcasts, definitely download that. Give me a rating. Let me know what you think of the show. And as I'm trying to hit close to 1,300 subscribers, definitely do appreciate everybody's support. And let's get into this show. Let's get into this show right now because, we had the we'll get into the game itself, but unfortunately, we do start off with some bad breaking news. And basically it will go a little something like this. Breaking news this morning brought out by Ian Rappaport and also it was confirmed by Terry McCormick and Teron Davenport. The Tennessee Titans offensive coordinator, and that would be the one and only Todd Downing, was arrested for DUI, for driving under the influence, and for speeding. He was arrested and around 3 a.m. in Nashville, and was posted bail. So he was out on bail. In regards to that, I may have a guest coming in who says he wants to chime in on this as well. So we're just having a little bit of fun, and I may see if I can get said guest to join me and everything. So we're definitely going to get into that. But I mean, this is just an unfortunate turn of events that does happen. I mean, you get where he calls an incredible game. I mean, an incredible game. It is, I mean, you do everything absolutely right, and then you get this happening to you. You call a great game, and then you can't hold your liquor. You want to celebrate and everything. And I mean, don't get me wrong, that's, I am never against anybody wanting to celebrate. I am not against anybody wanting to, have some fun, but you got to be under control. And I know there's a lot of people out there that will say, you know, but that can happen to anybody. It's not like that he, beat his wife or anything, and it's not like nothing bad happened. Here's the thing about this. And Shane, thank you very much for the super chat. Definitely hit that like button. I appreciate y'all. But here's my thoughts on this, and I will get to everybody's comments in just a bit. Yes, you should be able to celebrate. It's okay to have a drink or two. But you also have to be responsible, and you have to be smart in making your decisions. This is a very, very bad look for the Tennessee Titans on a day where we should be celebrating, and we are going to do that. We should be celebrating an amazing victory from last night. We should be talking about how the Tennessee Titans went up to Lambeau Field and beat the brakes off the Green Bay Packers on national TV. We should be talking how the offense finally woke up. We should be praising Todd Downing because we have been, absolutely destroying him, all year long for bad play calling. And we should be celebrating, this good offensive performance that we put on, but instead it is overshadowed by this very bad act. I mean, it overshadows a lot of what the Tennessee Titans did last night. And according to, Mike Vrabel had a press conference a little while ago, and it was said that alcohol was available on the plane. And so, get back to the facility, and Todd Downing feels he's okay to drive himself home and get stopped in Williamson County by Tennessee Highway Patrol. And it's not just this that happened. The team also has a deal, but the bad thing is, and what makes this worse, what makes matters worse, is that the Tennessee Titans have a deal with Lyft. The whole team can get rideshare with Lyft for free. Let me say that one more time. The Tennessee Titans have a deal with Lyft. They can get rideshare anytime for free. 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 This dude is clearly intoxicated and should be driving himself home and should have gotten a Lyft to take him home. And then when he's sobered enough, he could then get a Lyft back to go get his vehicle. This was a dumb decision by Todd Downing, which overshadows the good that he did last night. And again, I know I had some people, I had my boy Gorilla 10 basically telling me, and I see on Facebook a lot of people were commenting, talking about, oh, that could have happened to anybody. That could have happened to anybody. Don't, he's human. And this doesn't matter. He's good. It's not like he beat up his wife. And I get all of that, okay? I get it. No, he did not beat up his wife. Thank God he is okay, and thank God nobody was hurt. But this could have went a whole lot worse. All around the country, we hear all the time about deadly car accidents that happen due to drunk driving. We hear bad about accidents that happen, and we hear there are a lot of lives, a lot of innocent lives that are lost due to drunk driving. We hear that all the time. And, quite a few people was like, he's fine. Nothing bad really happened. Would you be saying that now? Would you be saying that if we heard on the news, like what happened with Henry Ruggs? And I got somebody cool coming on in just a second right now. And I'm bringing in my guy, Ken Moore at K Moore Sports. He hit me up and wanted to come on in. And I got my guy, Ken, with me right now. And I'm going to get his reaction in just a minute. I guarantee you, we're going to talk about the good. But again, yes, he's human. It was a mistake, a bad mistake. But what Idiayala said, he's good, still praise him. What would have happened if he had gotten himself killed? Or what would have happened if an innocent bystander or somebody else, another car, would have wrecked and would have been killed because of this? You would not be saying the same thing. We will all be upset and mourning somebody whose life would have been lost. Some family would be in mourning right now because either, maybe a teenager or, somebody's father, somebody's husband, somebody's mother, somebody's daughter, somebody's sister, brother could have been killed by a drunk driver. You would not be saying the same thing right now. So just because, he got away, he was just arrested, got out on bond, this does not excuse the action. That should not have happened. Again, they have Lyft where they can get rideshare for free. Me, Ken, any of you, if we get a rideshare, we have to pay for that. The team gets to do it for free. And he did not have the thought. I know he's drunk and probably not thinking straight. And you're probably thinking, well, how come somebody else on the team didn't say nothing or do something? And we don't know yet. We don't have all the facts. They're still trying to gather information. It could have been that somebody else may have said something saying, hey, are you sure you're okay to drive home? Are you okay? Maybe we should get you a lift or one of us take you home. And maybe, maybe it said, you know what? I'm fine. I can drive home. I'm good. So we don't know all the facts yet. But again, this is a very bad look on what otherwise we're supposed to be giving Todd Downing some love that we really never given him. And so now I bring in my guy Ken Moore on this. And what were your thoughts on this breaking news as we woke up really early this morning around, I want to say around 7, 8 o'clock, and we get this news?
Man, I got a text message from a friend that said, "Did you see the news about Todd Downing?" And I saw the text. I was like, "Nah, this can't be true. Let me go to Twitter and let me verify some facts and see what happened." And I mean, all I could say was Todd Downing does not like nice things, man. You know how you buy your kids something real nice, you save up for them, they had good grades in school, maybe they started off the semester bad, they ended up good, you save a little money, you get them a nice Christmas gift, and they break it the day after Christmas, right? They fall on the bike and scratch the bike up the day after Christmas. Don't like nice things. And it's unfortunate, man. In all seriousness, it's an unfortunate situation. I hope it's a one-off, right? I hope it's a one-off for him. We all make mistakes. We all are all human. So I'm not going to be hypocritical and kill him for that. No pun intended, obviously. But at the same time, you have to be smarter than that. I would assume that this was drinking that took place on the plane ride home. I would assume, unless he had a bottle in his car or, a bottle in the facility or something like that, which I hope is not the case. But nevertheless, now he has to deal with the ramifications. The team has to deal with the ramifications, and then they have to decide what discipline is going to be necessary. Is it going to be immediate disciplinary action, or is it going to be a situation where Todd, as he has the right to, just because you're accused does not mean you're guilty. So he has a right to due process where he can challenge in court, where he can plead not guilty, he can plead no contest. So it depends on what the Titans decide to do at this point. Do they decide to take immediate disciplinary action and suspend him for 1 to 4 games, or do they let the judicial system play itself out? This carries over into the offseason, and then he may face disciplinary measures at the beginning of next season. So there's a couple of things that have to be sorted out there.
Absolutely. And I mean, the thing about that is, and you're right, I'm not trying to kill him for what happened. And Stan, thank you so much for the super chat, because I don't think yes, the team could do something, but the NFL may do something too, especially with the Henry Ruggs situation that happened before. So Stan, thank you so much for the super chat. And I think the thing is, like you said, you got to be smart. And, other people have dealt with DUI. Have I went out, had a drink or two, at a party or something like that? Absolutely. Absolutely. We all have. And I'll say for myself, what I try to do, if I know I'm going to drink, and most of the time, I try not to drink a lot because, one, most of the time I'm driving. So I know I can't have no more than maybe 2 drinks. And when I do that, I try to spread them out. I might get a drink maybe when I first get to a party, and then maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours later, if I'm feeling it, I get another.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I might chill and let it calm down before I decide how I'm going to get home or what am I going to do next. And I think Todd should have did the same thing. And it just, again, is bad judgment, bad decision. It happens to everybody. You know, a lot of us have made that bad decision before. And again, it's, you got to be smart because this could have been a whole lot worse. Somebody else, he could have been hurt. He could have been killed. Somebody else could have been hurt or killed.
Well, you think
And
about the Kansas City Chiefs situation with Andy Reid's son
mm-hmm,
2 years ago. He was drunk driving, and unfortunately, he had a horrible accident where he caused a serious injury to a small child who has been damaged physically, possibly for life. And he is in
mm-hmm,
jail today, and he is without a job for that incident. So it is a very, very serious situation. And the thing for the Titans is they have to, if he was drinking on the team plane and got off of said plane and into his vehicle to drive home, then the team may have some culpability in that, and that they have to acknowledge that, hey, it was a big win. You know, I'm sure there was a lot of celebrating in the locker room and on the plane ride home. And they may have to curtail how they do things on their plane. We don't know that to be fact, but if that is indeed the case, because if you go to a bar and you go have an accident, then in some states, that bar or that bartender can be sued
yep,
in some states. So if you're drinking on the team plane and you have, you know, waitresses or whatever on the plane serving drinks to the players and the coaches, then there's some culpability possibly there as well.
absolutely. And I'm gonna get to everybody's comments and stuff like that. So if I don't get to y'all comment directly, blame my brain, not my heart. I'm not trying to ignore it or anything like that. You know, I'm gonna show them. I may not exactly mention it, but I'm gonna show and acknowledge your comments. So I'm gonna try to do something as much as I can. Like 615 said, Mike Vrabel says this all the time. Don't do dumb stuff to hurt the football team. And this hurts the football team. It does. Because now I believe there is in the NFL. Now, again, I'm not confirming this, that a suspension could be about 3 games. It could be less, it could be more. You know, James is saying that driving under the influence, it's a selfish choice. And Ian mentioned, you know, he knows a guy whose mother died due to drunk driving. So again, this is not something that we just can sweep under the rug. This is something that's very, very serious. And Buck mentioned this on his show, that there were some people that maybe made a joke of all of this. This is not funny, ladies and gentlemen. This is not a funny subject because this could have ended very differently and this could have ended very badly. Thank God it did not. And, you know, yes, you got to go through due process. And that much is true. And I believe Stan, you know, he said, though it's wrong as a deputy myself, a lot a lot of it is officer discretion. I would have tried to find. He would say I would have tried to find a ride if I could, and Stan, I appreciate that you bringing that in from a police or sheriff side of that. And again, it does overshadow a lot of the good that happened because again, I was ready to actually eat a little bit of crow and praise this man. And I'm still going to because it's separate from the game. But this is something that we're definitely gonna have to pay attention to, and we're gonna see what consequences come of that. Again, the Titans, Mike Vrabel had a press conference and stated that they're still gathering information and that they're going to cooperate and abide by the rules. They may have, like Ken, like you said, they may have their own punishment self-imposed, but right now, everybody, now is not the time to be like, oh, is this Tim Kelly's chance? Is this, bad on Downey? Like, dang, Downey, dang, this, fire him. I don't know if it'll get to that point yet. We will see how this goes.
Yeah, and another point about the NFL is that NFL is unlikely to intervene at this point because typically the NFL likes for the legal process to play out before they impose any disciplinary measures. So, from the NFL perspective, I would not expect to see any NFL, unless Todd Downing just goes in and pleads guilty. Um, I would not expect to see any NFL disciplinary action this season because the judicial process is unlikely to be resolved before the season ends. This will probably be something that goes into the spring or the summer or something like that, typically with these type of cases. So I wouldn't expect anything from the NFL. If any punishment comes this season, I'm almost assured it would come from the Titans, not from the NFL.
Absolutely. I can definitely do that. X, appreciate that. We're going to definitely talk about the win in just a minute now. So, in closing the book on this particular subject, because again, we want to get to the positive. We want to get to what y'all really want to talk about. And it's just, again, it's such an unfortunate turn of events. You do something great. He's been hounded. He has been ridiculed, dragged through the mud. I've done it too. And then it's like he gets his moment in the sun. He gets his moment of glory. And then this happens. It's like, and like you said earlier, I think I tuned into Robbie and Rexford on 1025 The Game about 8 o'clock. And it said Downing arrested. I'm thinking when they said that, I was like, okay, DUI or speeding. I'm thinking they're saying he got arrested for maybe stealing an offensive mind and actually, stole a victory here. That's what I thought. I thought it was a joke. And then I look it up and people are talking to me and I'm like, what? And it was confirmed, mugshot and everything. So I'm like, man.
Yeah.
It just takes away from everything.
Yeah, it's bad for him, man. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate he put himself in that situation, but that's a lesson to all of us that, hey man, you got to be smart. You got to be smart behind the wheel. You got to make smart decisions.
And I mean, it's really, and what in regular driving, it can't be just about you. You got to watch out for the other people driving because in this situation, you got to understand not everybody is going to drive safe or correctly as you might do. And, you got to look out for others and be careful. So, again, to everybody out there, if you're going to go out and drink, as they always say, drink responsibly. If you know you're going to drink, have that in your mind of, okay, I need to make sure I have a designated driver, or let me have Uber or Lyft downloaded on my phone so I can have a safe way home. Or you get with the owner of the club or a bartender and say, hey, I know I'm having a little bit to drink. Am I okay leaving my car here? Mm-hmm. And then when I sober up, I'll come back and get my car. Right. Something like that. So that way you cover yourself and you don't end up in this situation. And so just you be responsible, be careful. Accidents happen. And, because here in Memphis, you know, of course, I work for a news station. We were talking about pedestrian crashes, that there's a record of those in this city and in this county. So we just got to be careful, y'all. And that's just a lesson that we all have to learn.
Have to protect each other. Have to protect
Exactly.
each other. And you got to remember also, and I just speak of this as a parent with a young driver, an 18-year-old daughter who just got her driver's license. There's everyone on the road is not experienced drivers, right? You have older people who may be in their 70s that, they may not have the same cognitive reflexes
And
that we
hand eye
do
coordination.
hand-eye coordination that we have as our 20s, 30s, and 40s and 50s, and then you got young drivers, 16, 17, 18 years old, that are also on the road who just aren't experienced, right? You have to learn and get that experience. So there's all type of, drivers on the road. I mean, just like in all walks of life, you have some experience, some less experience, some more experience, some that are careless, some that are reckless, and then some that are diligent. So yeah, just protect yourselves. We don't want to hear about anything happening bad to anyone, in the fan base, in the organization, and the NFL as a whole. So yeah, just it's football season. Have fun, drink, party, but make sure you take care of yourselves.
Absolutely. I definitely do agree with that. And, but we're going to turn to the positive. Let's turn to the positive note. And, we'll see what happens with that. But now on the positive side, man, what a game last night. This, the Titans beat the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau. Short week. Thinking you're going to Lambeau. It's been a house of horrors for them in the past. Cold weather. A little bit of snow was starting to come down. And the Tennessee Titans go up to Lambeau and handle business. They go up there and they just flat out took the Packers to the woodshed and kicked their butts. 27-17. They're 7-3 on the year. Tannehill on the offense was fantastic. I'm gonna give Todd Downing his well due because it was a heck of a game, and we're gonna talk about the good, the bad, and the god awful in just a bit. But man, what a football game. And I don't think anybody outside of Titan Nation expected the game to go like this. Ken, what were your initial thoughts after this game was over?
To be completely honest, I wasn't surprised at all. I made a little change in on my app.
I knew I should have bet some money. I was thinking that. I was so mad at myself. I was like, because I was telling Lee from 615 Podcast, I was in my mind, I saw 3.5. And earlier that day, I was like, I need to make sure I put this bet down before the game start. Mm-hmm. And I was starting my stream about 6:45. And as soon as the game started, I was like, oh, dang, I forgot to put my bet in.
Bruh, I smashed the money line at plus 148. I just leave it at that. So, but no, when I watched, Green Bay is not a very good football team. They had lost 5 games in a row before they beat Dallas on Sunday. That was essentially their Super Bowl, right? That was their game of the year. Mike McCarthy coming back, the whole Aaron Rodgers, Mike McCarthy thing, Cowboys, Dallas, it's one of the biggest rivalries in the NFC. That was their Super Bowl, really, for this year. They put everything into that ball game. How did they beat Dallas? They beat Dallas by running the football. They ran for over 200 yards against the Cowboys. No way they were running like that against Tennessee. We knew they weren't going to be able to run like I knew that they weren't going to be able to run like that against the Titans. And then what? You're going to have Aaron Rodgers dropping back to pass with unproven receivers on the outside. The kid Watson, he's going to be great. He looks like he's very good. Had 3 touchdowns against Dallas, had 2 more touchdowns against us last night. But outside of him, they really don't have anyone else. Their offensive line was banged up. The left tackle was playing hurt. Bakhtiari. We had Jeffrey Simmons back. We were a little banged up in on the back end, but I mean our depth in our front seven is outstanding, and I just didn't think the Packers would be able to score more than 17 points against us. Now offensively, no, I didn't expect 333 yards from Ryan Tannehill. I thought Derrick Henry and the offensive line would be a little bit more productive. I expect about 120, 130 out of Derrick last night, but they did just enough running the football. And, Green Bay overplayed the run, which opened up the passing game for us. I have no idea why they were playing so soft against our receivers, just giving them 5 and 7 yard cushions. I had no idea what they were doing in the secondary last night.
They didn't respect them.
Yeah, I mean that was just crazy. So I didn't think Green Bay had a good defensive game plan at all, but it did not shock me the way we played defensively against their offense.
I'm with you on that. It just seemed like to the national media, of course, I had to quickly look at some of them and quickly go away from it because all they kept talking about, all they were whining about Aaron Rodgers, is it over? Is it his fault? All this. And it's like, are y'all even going to talk about the team that actually won the game, that actually spanked them? But I'm like, you know what? That's why y'all come here, because we're going to talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't surprised in a little bit either. I mean, again, I'm going to throw out my 4 points to victory. And this is talk about our show. Number 1, wrap up Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. They did that. Check. Get to Aaron Rodgers. We got a sack on him, but we put a lot of pressure on him last night. Check. Win at the line of scrimmage. I think we could put a check mark there too.
Mm-hmm.
And they changed the narrative at Lambeau against cold weather. Shopper Horse winning, got a big win on primetime. Check. They checked all the boxes. And, I did not expect 330 yards passing. And they built on it. They built on what they did against Denver. And Green Bay is no slouch in the pass defense. They're number 3. And we've made 2 of the top 3 pass defenses look bad. Really bad. Now, the 1 interception that Tannehill threw, a lot of people were like, oh, God, that was Tannehill. That's a bad call. Why you called it on 2nd and 1? I'm thinking, in a way, I wasn't mad at the call. Because if you go on 2nd and 1, and if you don't have nothing and it's incomplete, hey, you got 3rd and 1 in your pocket. You just give it to Henry. He'll get that first down. And I'm going to go back and look at the play before Wednesday. As, before this Wednesday, I think what Tannehill saw in that particular play, he saw 0 coverage. There was no safety. And Rasul Douglas was in the box. So they had about 8 or 9 in the box. They were expecting run. And then when the play action happened, Rasul Douglas was able to get back and be able to cut that pass off. If he wasn't there, that is a touchdown to Burks all the way. That or a big gainer. Because it was just him and his guy.
Right.
And the way that ball was thrown, if Rasul Douglas isn't there, Burks is catching it and is gone with it. And welcome to the NFL, Traylon Burks. This was the guy we drafted. And receivers showed up. Austin Hooper showed up. I was proud of this offense. Shout out to Todd Downing indeed on that part.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Austin Hooper, wow, what a revelation. He has really become Tannehill's go-to guy over the last, 2 to 3 ball games, and since Tannehill came back from the injury. And he is going to be really, really big for us down the stretch. I know before the trade deadline, there were some conversations, the Titans may release him or the Titans may trade him, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, no, man, you got to let this dude get more involved in the offense, let him get comfortable. And the best thing about the emergence of Hooper and Chig is that I don't have to see Greg Swain in the lineup for 40 and 50 plays a game. Thank the Lord I don't have to see Swain except on the sidelines and occasionally coming in to try to block somebody, because I'm so tired of seeing Swain on this team. So I'm glad that Hooper and Chig have emerged. Now, truth be told, I did scream at the TV when they threw the ball on 2nd and 1, because it reminded me of those 2 plays to Willis, with 6-7 minutes to go in the game when we're trying to run out the clock. I would have liked to see a running play there, because you had a 10-point lead. It's 2nd and 1. It was about 10 minutes to go in the game, and I'm wanting to eat up 30 and 40 seconds between every play. So I was a little heated at them throwing the football there, but after I saw the replay, I understood why they threw it, because, like you said, they had 10 in the box. It was one-on-one on the outside, and you don't expect that corner from the other side to play robber and drop back, and he just made a great defensive play. Yeah. So all in all, yeah, but outside of that, Downing did an outstanding job play calling. He is the best. I mean, and obviously he still has Arthur Smith's playbook, red zone playbook. He must not have Arthur Smith's playbook between the 20s, but in the red zone, man, I mean, I think it's like 16 or 17 consecutive touchdowns in goal to go. I mean, that is unheard of at any level.
I want to say it was 15.
15 in a row
straight
now.
Goal-to-go drives, touchdown.
That is
10 straight this year.
That is crazy. That is crazy. And that was a great play to Henry to hand it off to him and have him do the jump pass. I mean, that's a new version of just creativity. I'm like, me and my wife was watching the game. She was on her phone. I'm like, baby, did you just see this? It was insane. So I got to give a big shout out to Todd, man, for what he did during the ball game last night.
And we're going to get to the good, the bad, and the god awful. That was the thing I was thinking. I'm like, is that play legal? How you hand off to Henry and then he throws it up? But he did not cross the line of scrimmage.
Right.
As long as you're behind the line of scrimmage, you can throw the ball.
Yeah.
So he kind of tipped up a little bit and then hopped it over, that nice little layup to Austin Hooper. I thought that was good. And 2 other things that I was impressed with. Even though they did not score on this drive, that 18-play, 10-minute drive, it was masterful. And going forward on that 4th and 1, I would have done the same thing.
Absolutely.
I would have done the same.
Absolutely.
And I'm not going to be like, why did you do that? Take the point. I'm like, it's 4th and 1. You do go forward in that situation. Mm-hmm. Hey, it didn't work. But you know what you did? You flipped the field. So basically like a big punt. You took 10 minutes off the clock. That's 10 minutes that Aaron Rodgers was sitting, couldn't do a thing about it. And then that very next series, quick 3 and out.
3 and out.
And that second quarter, I think that's where the Titans won the game. They held the ball for nearly 12 minutes in that second quarter. The Packers may have held the ball for about less than 2 minutes. That whole quarter. Titans held the ball pretty much the whole time. And then that last deep pass to Burks, That was kind of an FU to Green Bay. That was kind of an FU play to Green Bay and to the national media and to everybody else who's not a Titan fan. That was kind of an FU play to everybody.
Well, that was the smartness of Mike Vrabel. I'm sitting there, right? At 2:04, there's no need to run the football there because you're only going to take 4 seconds off the clock. Even if you throw the ball, you can take 7 or 8 seconds off the clock. Now, people may say, oh, what's an extra 4 or 5 seconds? Well, we all know 4 or 5 seconds can be very important at the end of the football game. But more importantly, you have nothing to lose by throwing it deep there. 90% of the coaches would have ran the football in that situation.
Yep.
Vrabel, Bill Belichick, Sean McVay, those are your elite coaches in the NFL that think outside the box. No, yes. This is essentially a free play because the clock is going to stop after the play anyway. So let me take a shot downfield, one-on-one coverage, and if he catches the football, the game is over. I take 3 knees, I get on a plane, I go back home. Mike Vrabel, outstanding job, in my opinion, top 3 coach in the NFL. Just tremendous. So, they did an outstanding job. That second quarter, as you mentioned, that half couldn't have ended more perfectly. You have the 10-play drive. They stop us on 4th down, but guess what? They're pinned down inside the 5-yard line. They go 3 and out. We get the football back. We go down. We score with 30 seconds left in the half. And they don't have enough time. They don't have any timeouts left to go down and try to get any points. So the end of the half was perfect by Vrabel. The end of the ball game was perfect by Vrabel. That was just a beautifully done job by the entire coaching staff.
Absolutely. And so now, in talking about that, we're going to continue that. We go into the good, the bad, and the god-awful. And we're going to talk a lot of good today. As we mentioned, Todd Downing, even though he had his bad stuff today, he deserves a lot of praise. Excellent play calling. He did a great job. Was his best game that he's called as Titans OC. Best game. Offense came alive. It was not as boring as people was expecting. I thought it was going to be a boring, drag-out fight. But the Titans came out early. They hit some jabs. They hit some hooks. Hit a couple of right crosses early, and kind of had Green Bay pretty much on their heels all night. The defense was still as Nashville nasty. I'm going to keep that on there as long as possible because Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon combined for 200 yards against the Cowboys, as we mentioned. They were held to 56 yards combined. And I believe that was also including, any sack or any run that Aaron Rodgers may have had as well. But, and Christian Watson's 3-yard run. So really, Dillon and Jones, 53 yards combined on 18 carries. That is incredible. That is an incredible stat. And Aaron Rodgers didn't blow it out of the water either. He only had 227. Everybody was talking about our bad pass defense. You can't really just look at the numbers. Any real fan that's watching the game and sees this defense is like, from 20 to 20, okay, we give up some yards, but when it matters most, we ain't giving up no points. Because this team, number 1 in 3rd down, number 1 in the red zone. And they proved that. Very much so. Christian Fulton went down with a little bit of a hamstring. Got to give Trey Avery some credit because when he was in there, I was clutched. I was terrified. I'm like, oh, God, they're going to attack this kid. They're going to go after him. I would have. And he held up. Terrence Mitchell held up. And I am proud. David Long, like I said, Jeff Simmons, Pay that dude. You might as well go ahead. Y'all saying y'all can't find the money? Y'all better go rob a bank. Go get that money to pay Jeff. And while you're at it, get a little bit more money to pay David Long Jr. as well. Because I think him and Monty Rice are the future at that position. And then Traylon Burks, again, welcome to the NFL. Let's build on this. All we need now is we got to get him in the end zone a few times.
Mm-hmm.
And then last but not least, of course, we made him bend the knee. Long live the king. Hits 1,000 yards. He's the first running back to hit 1,000 yards this year. He's halfway there. He's halfway there. So I think I think he's the only NFL player that's had 20 plus rushes, 2 plus completions, a rush, and a passing touchdown in a game. Incredible stat. Did I miss anything in my goods before we go to the bad?
I don't think you missed anything, brother. I was just going to touch on Avery, man. Avery came in the fourth quarter, and like you, I was concerned. I was like, uh-oh, they finna attack number 30. But he did a heck of a job, man. He held it down in the secondary, and that's just a credit to Shane Bowen and that defensive staff, man. Everybody that comes into the ball game now, you can have confidence in. You know, you don't even sweat the safety, Amani Hooker not being there anymore because Adams has played well. Everybody that they put at that backup safety position has done an excellent job. So, no, man, I think you hit on all the points. Everybody did a great job last night.
Yes. And Josh put it there. At the moment, we are the number 1 rushing defense in the league. At the moment, we got to see what San Francisco does. But I'll take that title at the very moment. Now, to be honest, I really didn't have anything bad except Danico Autry's injury. You know, he got hurt. He would be a huge loss if something happened. But I can't remember who tweeted it. But Vrabel said he talked to Danico, and rumor is, you know, they're gonna have an MRI, but it doesn't seem like it's anything too serious. He may miss a little time. I mean, you get 10 days off, which is good, but it doesn't seem like it's anything too serious. It's nothing that's going to have him miss like an extended period of time. So we may have dodged the bullet there. But other than that, I didn't really see anything bad. Now,
I had a couple of bads. I had a couple of bads before you get to your god awful.
Oh, go right ahead.
Danico Autry, I think Danico Autry is our second best defensive player behind Simmons, with all due respect to Kevin Byard and Christian Fulton. But Danico Autry has been a godsend for this football team. I mean, Bud Dupree is good when he plays, but Bud Dupree is the Anthony Davis of the NFL. He can't play 2 games in a row. If we lose Danico Autry for an extended period of time, it will really impact this defense, unlike any other player that has missed time, because we don't have a replacement for him because he can play outside and inside. He is tremendous. We get on J-Rob about his signings, but the Danico Autry signing, that was for bang for the buck, the best free agent signing, in my opinion, in his tenure with the Tennessee Titans. On the field, special teams was a problem last night. Lambeau obviously missed an extra point. Didn't come back to bite us, but he did miss an extra point. Mm-hmm. Kickoff returns, I cringe every time Haskins brings the ball out. Not because of Haskins, because he's a good returner. Yep. But we get a penalty almost every freaking time, and we're starting inside the 20. It happened on Sunday twice. It happened last night twice. The opening kickoff, and then there was another kickoff after a Green Bay touchdown where he got, I think it was Hilliard that hit the guy blindside block, and we ended up starting inside the 10-yard line. So the kickoff return team, the special teams coach needs to teach them how to block, because this offense, even though they did it last night, they're not built to go 90, 85 yards for scoring drives consistently. And you can't have your special teams unit putting you inside the 15-yard line every single time. That's my only issue. Special teams, clean up the penalties, get Bullock back. I can't believe I just said that. Get Bullock back. And Stonehouse wasn't great last night either. He had a couple of, shorter punts. They had a nice punt return on one of them. So special teams was a little shaky last night.
Now, I get what you're saying on that. I think really both punters on both sides of the ball, it wasn't a good night for either one. Right. And I will probably more so lean and blame the conditions, maybe because of that. Because Stonehouse still had about an average of 50 yards for the punt. I think his longest punt was about 50, 55, 56 yards, I want to say. So, I mean, I think he still had a solid night. It wasn't great. I agree with that. Yeah. Now, kickoff return, I think Haskins did a good job on the return, but you are right. The penalties on those, we do have to stop that. We definitely have to stop that. And like Mr. Jones said, yeah, they don't fly far in the cold.
You're right.
And Miss Jackie, Zach Cunningham is on IR. He has to miss 3 more games. He's got to miss 3 more games. Todd got hurt as well, but he came back. I believe he finished the game. So I do agree with that. Now, the god-awful. One we mentioned on already about Downing getting arrested, so we talked about that. But the only true bad blemish I have is Dennis Dudley. The rest of the offensive line did just fine. Dylan Radins was in at left guard, and I think he did a very good job. I'm going to have to go back and watch, but I think he did a very solid job. And I think playing on the left side is better for him because that's more of his natural side. I do not know why, for the love of God, they don't just put him at left tackle and be done with it. Dennis Daly is the only bad, awful thing about this game because Preston Smith was kicking his tail all night. He gave up nearly 2 sacks, if I'm not mistaken. And, Preston Smith had 1.5. And I think somebody else had the other half. And it was just god awful how he played in this game. And we got to do something about this left tackle position because Dennis Daly's going to get Ryan Tannehill killed at some point. Everybody else, I'm really not worried about. Brewer, I think, did a very good job at center. Again, Raiders did a good job at left guard. I did love at the end of the game where John Robinson, he hasn't earned that back yet, where he had Ben Jones on FaceTime and everybody was coming, showing love to Ben Jones, saying, hey, we miss you, wish you was here and everything. I loved that. Mm-hmm. But Dennis Daly freaking stinks. And it is obvious. And I don't know why they won't do something about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm assuming the alternatives are not better. Obviously, they don't think Dylan Redance is ready. I mean, they didn't think Dylan Redance was ready to play right tackle, let alone left tackle. So maybe his feet aren't quick enough to be a tackle at the NFL level. That's why they moved him inside to the backup guard position at the right and left side. Um, Obviously, there's no one on the street that I can think of that would be better to come in at this point. The best you can do is just try to chip, have a running back on that side or have a tight end on that side to help him out, particularly against elite pass rushers. And he really worried me on the Henry pass in the end zone to Hooper, because he almost leaked downfield too much and got that play called back. The officials really could have thrown a flag on him for being illegally downfield because he had drifted. When you go back and watch it, he had drifted down to about the 1 or 2 yard line, and that play started at the 5. So the officials would have been more than in their right to throw a flag there for illegal man downfield. So he just got to keep his wits about him. Just try to get better, man. It is what it is with Taylor Lewan being gone for the year.
Yeah, and Jackson, thank you for the super chat. Definitely awful was Green Bay. They were booing Todd when he got hurt. Although, now the second time he got hurt, helmet to the leg, I was like, yeah, he was hurt. Now, that first time, I honestly thought he pulled a good acting job. He may have tweaked the ankle, but it did look a little more like an acting job the first time. And, Aaron Rodgers was trying to get on the ball real quick and try to get that free play that he's really good at. And then Tart goes down and is like, no, you got to stop this. You got to stop the play. Because I know Herb Street was like, you got to take a look at something like this because, they made it seem like he really was faking an injury. And he may have been hurt, but it did look like a pretty good acting job. And, hey, I'll take it. I will take it.
We see a lot of that in college football, and I know Herb Street does a lot of college football. I do a lot of college football, and you do see it more in college because guys are coached. Hey, if teams are going in a hurry up and we can't make substitutions, then the weakest player on the team, you just go down and take one for the team, and and play like you cramping up or something. So I think that was Herb Street kind of going back to what he sees more during his college broadcast, because you don't really see that a lot in the NFL. But Tart, he may have pulled a fast one there, and you saw Aaron Rodgers with the little smirk on his face when he came off the field when he was looking at Vrabel. So it was all good. It was no big deal as far as that.
I was laughing at that too because Aaron Rodgers going looking like, dude, you
like really
hurt. we know what you're doing. Get your tail up so I can run this play. I'm trying to run a free play here.
Yeah.
So again, I appreciate everybody's thoughts. Zach, you're right. We did kick their tail. Blavin Patel says double D Dennis Daly, as in double dumb, double bad. Mario dumpster juice.
Oh, man, brutal, man. Y'all brutal.
I mean, Kyle Hauser comes and said, what do y'all think is going to happen with Downing? Suspend one game for now. If it happens, Kelly shows up, and what happens then? I don't know. Right now, we're definitely going to see. We still got 10 days to figure out what's going to happen. We'll see what the NFL, if they do say anything, and, we'll see what the Titans say or do. But I think they're definitely going to keep it within house, Ken, like you said. And I would say the injuries was really the only bad thing besides Dennis Daly, because he stunk. And I did like how he, clapped up with Henry at the end of the game. Like, clapped it up at the end of the game. I was stoked after that. So that was some of the great things I saw. And again, y'all, make sure y'all get your nominees for the Two-Tone Blue Star of the Game and Dunce of the Day for Wednesday's show and everything. So To wrap this up, again, happy as could be, 7-3 feels good. Right now, we we still got, crazy as it's kept, we still got a shot at the number 1 seed. We have a shot. And this NFL is wide open. It's anybody's game. Last night, I think, as what a lot of people would say, was a statement. The Tennessee Titans basically said to the rest of the NFL, we here. You want some? Come get some. And they're saying, we don't care who you put in front of us. I think, honestly, if we play Buffalo again, whether it's here or in Buffalo, I think that game goes a lot differently than it did week 2. Kansas City, with Tannehill, I think we beat them. And we're going to get an early test in 10 days when we play the Cincinnati Bengals. I will be at Nissan Stadium. My little brother's going to be with me. He's a Bengals fan. I'm hoping we get to drive back to Memphis and he's mad. He'll be looking at me like, I don't want to talk. And I love my brother to death. And yeah, sticking out my chest, beating on it like it's King Kong. Shout out to my man Alton Hood, by the way. Titan 2-step indeed. And I know the Titans fan club of Memphis was live and lit. I saw a couple of pictures. I hate I couldn't be there with y'all, but 4 a.m. work duty calls, I have to do it. So, and like Mr. Jones says, physical defense, run game, that does travel.
Yep.
It travels well. So, Ken, we're going to get out of here. Any last thoughts as we close the book on this victory? And we enjoy it now. And like a coach would say, enjoy this victory today. Tomorrow, it doesn't exist. We move on to Cincinnati. So, any last thoughts about this as we get ready to close this show out?
Man, I think if the Titans get healthy, I think once again we're going to be a team that other teams do not want to play in the playoffs. The season is going as scripted so far. You got a couple of good back-to-back wins against Denver and Green Bay. You got 10 days off. You're off for Thanksgiving week. Turkey's going to taste a lot better. The ham and the sweet potatoes and the cornbread dressing is going to taste a lot better this week. Hopefully we can get the guys healthy. You know, Christian Fulton and Autry and those guys. Burks is coming on. I think he's going to be a key contributor the rest of the way, starting to get his confidence up. If we can get, is it Phillips, the kid from UCLA? Mm-hmm. If we can get him back into the fold, hopefully he'll be ready to go for the end of the year. And I am very confident in this ball club going forward. Now, Cincinnati, look, I mean, Cincinnati's always been a tough matchup for us, but they don't have Jamar Chase. I don't think he'll be back. I think he's still on IR, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't think he'll be back. They got a big game with Pittsburgh this week. So you got 10 days off. They got a tough division battle with Pittsburgh. I believe that game is in Pittsburgh. So that's going to be, you know, one of those bare knuckle brawls between those two ball clubs. So Cincinnati may come in here a little beat up in 2 weeks. So I think the Titans are looking really, really good right now. They're really, really good. And they're going to be a tough out for anyone, Buffalo or Kansas City. Neither one of those teams are going to want to face Tennessee. You know, you got Miami and the Jets as well. Both of those teams are playing well, but huge win. Hopefully the Todd Downing situation doesn't derail us. Luckily, we have Tim Kelly in the building, who I think can take over the play calling duties if Downing is suspended, and we'll see what happens. Think about it this way: if we had lost last night and Todd Downing had a bad game, well, I don't think anybody would care that he got arrested. So it is what it is. But the best to him and his family. I hope everything goes well for him. Luckily, no one was injured last night in the incident, and I hope everybody else. Hope all you guys have a happy Thanksgiving. Stay safe and be merry.
Absolutely. And of course, y'all can find Ken at K-More Sports on YouTube, also on Twitter as well, and also at Ken More Sports on Instagram. And then you have to look up Ken Moore on Facebook. He's one of my top friends and everything. And yeah, I think this is gonna be a very happy weekend, a very happy Thanksgiving. Definitely gonna have a good time. We'll definitely do a show before then. And yeah, I think Colin Cowherd, can't even believe he said this. He said, hey, this Tennessee Titan team, they embody Mike Vrabel. And no matter what, they're going to be, a tough out. And even if they lose, you're going to feel the effects. They're like, even if they lose, you're going to leave with a busted lip or you're going to leave with a busted face too. Because Titans to go punch in the mouth a few times. And it's going to be depending on which teams can withstand it the most. And it's very few teams that I think that may be able to withstand that. So, everybody, we're going to get ready to call this a night, a day. I'm going to go eat some food. I had to come on a little bit early, since the breaking news came out. And I thank Kim Moore for coming on in, sliding on in for a few moments. And I thank everybody for tuning in. Again, if you're new to the show, make sure you smash that like button and make sure you hit that subscribe button and also ring the bell as well. And follow all the pages as well, whether it be on Instagram, Twitter, or YouTube. And I thank y'all for tuning in to the show. And the Truth League report will be coming later this week, probably on Monday, as we talk about the rest of week 11 and the rest of the games that come out. So, everybody, enjoy your weekend, have fun, and tighten up, because that's all we know how to do. Good night, y'all.